So, Ivan, as I was about to say, humans are normally in a problem-solving mode, partly due to the instinct, most specifically the self-preservation instinct. And the language of the self-preservation instinct is fear. And humans don't like fear. They don't like to be afraid. Now, one time in our evolution, way back when, fear was a self-preservation item. In other words, if the hair on the back of your neck stands up, if you become afraid, become alert, look around. But over time, over many centuries, we have done a lot of stuff that has made it safe. We have housing, we have clothing, we have medication, we have communities, we have towns, cities. Often the cities, especially in the Middle East, Middle Ages, had walls, etc., for protection. So you could then go so far as to say, as kind of a joke, why was the Great Wall of China built? And the answer to that is that it wasn't built all at one time. It was built over a course of centuries, and that generally the wall was built where it was dangerous. And that the more wall they built, the more the enemy would come around, and so they'd have to build more wall. Right? Well, that's what we have done kind of as a civilization. We built up so much wall, and yet we are still in the habit of being afraid and out there building more wall. So that's our habit. And that you could also say that that if the message is correct, if it's a correct message, then it would be wholesome. Okay. All right. But if the message is incorrect, then it's not wholesome. Why? Because we are hearing a message, oh, they're on the attack. We'd better get prepared. We better defend ourselves. And the best defense is an offense. So let's go attack them. Why? Because they might attack us first. In that regard, all war is started by preemptive strikes. You could also go as far as to say that that's the golden rule of humanity, not Jesus's golden rule. The golden rule of humanity is do unto others that which you expect them to do unto you, except you do it first. Okay, and often our fear is a false positive. But in fact, in modern society, it's a false positive almost all the time. For instance, the child hasn't done his homework yet, and as soon as he thinks of it, he has fear, but that fear is not enough for him to go do his homework. And so 5 minutes later, he'll think about the homework, fear will come up, and he still doesn't do his homework. Okay. And so now he's got the habit of having fear about homework, and yet he doesn't do it. And so he is bound then to not do his homework because that's his habit, and is always bound then by being fearful about what might happen because he's not doing his duty. And that's the natural state that we're in. Okay? And so the first thing to do then, since we've talked about fear a bit, is as soon as you can recognize fear, quickly figure out whether it's real or not. Is the reason that you're afraid is because the mafia is banging on your door? If not, then it's probably a false positive.
Yeah.
That's dukkha. That's dissatisfaction. In other words, our instincts at one time was life preserving. But now, in modern times, our instincts give us a pretty miserable life.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
No, I was saying Bhikkhu Buddhadasa, he said the Dhamma is about something about going above the instinct. Oh, well, something like that. But yeah, just the instinct creates a lot of suffering.
Okay. So, back to your original question then, and that is that if we can see dukkha as dukkha, that's all we need to do. That's the research. That's the only research that we need to do. The next step is not more research. The next step is stepping out of the way, making a change, getting rid of it. In other words, instead of when you feel afraid, instead of investigating, oh, way back when I was in the first grade, I didn't do my homework, I felt afraid. And doing that kind of archaeology, the better thing to do is to say, hey, right now there's nothing to be afraid of. What a relief it is. The fear is unfounded.
Kind of just want to quickly bring in the word self-preservation you mentioned, because the irony is because of the self, right? Because ordinary people has a lot of clinging to self. So I guess my questions about quote unquote fully understanding dukkha could be something about fully understanding the illusion of self. Well, it's not self,
Okay.
but
All right. Now, you just made the same mistake that I was cautioning you against. And that is you're trying to evaluate dukkha instead of making the change that needs to be made immediately.
Yeah.
Now, we could say, in fact, that all dissatisfaction comes from being selfish.
Yes.
Or the selfishness arises when we're dissatisfied. We can see that connection, but the best time to see it is after you make the change. But most people are going to evaluate it while they're still in the dukkha, while they're still in the fear.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is where the changes need to be made. You make the change first, and then you reevaluate. You look, you see, you change, and then you look again and see, and maybe make another change. But look and look and look and look and look is not the teaching of the Buddha. It's taking a look and seeing what's there and making a change to it. See that that's unwholesome. And instead of trying to figure out why, the best thing to do is to go ahead and make the change, jump out of the way.
Yeah, I think that was kind of something I was getting to, is after getting out of the dukkha, that is where it can be wise to contemplate. So that was what I was alluding to.
Well, actually, Achan Samedo talks about a word in the sense of reflection, wise reflection. Now, that's not the same thing as reflection of just reminiscing in the past. But wise reflection would be, wow, I don't have to do that anymore. wow,
Yeah.
look how things have changed.
True, true.
Okay, so the wise reflection always has the quality of here now built into it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that makes so much sense because the here now is what makes the whole difference. Because sometimes people start analyzing things and they are missing the here now in the equation. Yeah, yeah.
Stuck in the past, living in the past, reminiscing about how it used to be, instead of always keep coming back to the present moment and reflecting. Times have changed. Things are not the way that they were. Wow, I'm glad it is like it is now rather than way back when. You see, you can actually hear that in the phrase that they have, "Make America Great Again." They always talk about it in the sense of a golden age. They're always in the sense of it's not as good now as it used to be.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Now is always better than back then.
Yeah.
Back then, we were in dukkha, and now we have an opportunity to not be in dukkha. But when we go back and reminisce about how great it was, that's delusional, and it discounts now, that now is not good enough.
Yeah.
And so the right way of reflecting is to reflect, oh, well, I'm glad I don't have to do that anymore. That right now is good enough. There was no golden age.
So I feel like asking about Sotapan because it kind of ties back to why I asked this question in the first place. My understanding of the one who entered the stream is someone who has seen through the ignorance, which is the greed, ill will, and delusion. The understanding.
Actually, let's correct that.
Okay.
Remember that I've talked about it in the sense of knowledge and deliverance?
Yes.
A two-step process. Okay, the Sotapan is the knowledge part. That in fact, better 4 and 5 are greed and ill will. And that most people, let us say, are not equipped to deal with greed and ill will without the proper knowledge. Now, let us not use the word Sotapan in the sense of a noun. He is a Sotapan. But rather think of it as the point of entering the stream. Let it become a verb. Are you Sotapaning right now? If you're Sotapaning right now, then that means that you're dealing with the knowledge in order to eliminate the greed and the ill will.
Yeah.
Now, that's not the same as the way most people think about it. They think of Sotapan as a noun with various steps and stages. And you could go so far as to say that it actually, the most important quality for the Sotapan, I would say, would be enthusiasm, eagerness. If you were eager to see your greed and your ill will, if you're eager to look based upon your knowledge, then that's the Sotapan. That most people, they don't like to look at their old wrongdoing. They feel guilty, they feel ashamed, etc., like that. Rather than, wow, I see that, and hot dog, I'm not going to do that now.
Yeah. Yeah,
Eagerness and enthusiasm, and the culmination of that would be delight. in the sense of, wow, I don't do that anymore. Wow, I am free from that.
Yes.
Wow, I can handle this.
It's
It ain't going to rain no more. I can handle it.
it's sorry, I just realized my question is a bit is kind of jumping to Salapon, and I kind of want to go back to Anapanasati. I think because I still have this. I feel like it's a misunderstanding with the word contemplation in Anapanasati. Like
I don't think I found the word contemplation anywhere. That in fact, you could go so far as to say that originally the Catholic form of meditation back in the Middle Ages and up into modern times, that's a contemplation meditation. And it's basically sitting there trying to figure out the solution to a problem.
Yeah.
We don't contemplate. Right? We step out of the way. We're only looking at something long enough to see that it's dukkha and get out of the way. We're not going to contemplate it. Now, there are practices like the Mahasi method. That's what they do. They note and 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 they don't make a change. Here, we're going to make a note and say, oh, yeah, I see that. Let's get out of it right now. The big difference here, the point that we need to make sure that you understand is right noble effort.
Yeah.
To take the effort right here, right now, to get out of that. So when we're dealing in the past and maybe guilt will come up because of some wrongdoing, we say, wow, I'm over that now. And that's the change from being stuck in our guilt, stuck in our shyness, stuck in our fear. We could say, I don't do that now. And so whenever we reflect upon the past, we always immediately bring it back to the present moment. Wow, I'm free from that. I'm really glad I don't have to do that anymore. And that's what the Sotapan is good at. He's good at enthusiastically getting out of it.
Yeah. No, yeah, the enthusiasm makes a lot of sense. Actually, to be honest, the reason for this question was, sometimes I listen to. Well, Michael he kind of gave some sharing just now on Discord, and he was talking about the sense of self. And when I listened to it, right, immediately, I was having some restless or craving inside when I was listening, and then at some point when he was talking about it, suddenly I seen through the illusion of taking things as ownership, taking things as mine, and I was just thinking, because the reason I have a sensation of craving, isn't that because partly I was contemplating while I was listening? So I don't know. That's a reason.
Well, let's use that example of what happened, that you mindlessly struck a key, which ended the call, but we started it back up again, and then you felt guilty. That's the self. The self is that which feels guilty.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, remember, the Buddha does not teach there is no self.
Yes.
But what he teaches then is that personality view is that the personality changes. And you can make a change to that.
Personality change.
So the Ivan that pushed the button was one Ivan. The Ivan that felt guilty a minute later, after the call
Oh,
started, was a different Ivan. And now we can take the right noble weapon is that the Ivan that's there now doesn't care. There's
yeah,
not much of an Ivan left now. There was a really great big Ivan with the guilt.
yeah, yeah.
But now there's not much Ivan left because it didn't
Mm,
matter, not important.
yeah,
Unless you're on a call with somebody who's going to call you stupid, but they're fussing at themselves more than you. With me, I
yeah.
don't care. It's a good opportunity to educate yourself about self. You don't have to feel guilty.
Mm, mm, mm,
Wow, aren't
mm.
you glad you don't have to feel guilty right now?
Yeah, yeah. I feel really good. So are you implying that while I was listening to Michael, there was a different personality suddenly? A personality where the craving was that
Right?
goes away.
The craving, that's self. The one who is doing the craving is the self. That's the birth of the self.
Mm,
Liking something is ordinary, but liking and then wanting and then having to have it, that's actually the process of developing the full-blown self, and it's the self that experiences the dukkha.
still desperate.
So this stuff happens pretty fast, and it happens as people understand Paticca Samuppada for the beginner. They think that it's a distinct series of steps,
Mm,
but in fact, it's not distinct. The lines are blurred down at the nanosecond level, or even the tenth of a second level, so that the wanting,
mm,
the craving,
mm,
etc., like the craving of I wish I hadn't ended the call,
mm,
and the guilt that comes, that's the self that arises.
mm,
Or listening to Michael talk about self and saying, what is he talking about? I don't understand. It's the self that gets confused. And instead of saying, I'm confused, you can say, right now, I don't have any self. Right now, I'm okay.
I know. So, yeah.
Uh,
Uh,
One of the best ways of looking at it is that the self is always taking on and associated with a woeful state. And when you're joyful, there is no self. The thought that
mm,
I'm having now is that the reason that angels can fly is because they take themselves so
right.
lightly. So
Mm,
take yourself lightly. There's not much self there. You can fly, but when you have a lot of self, you have a lot of grounding, a lot of gravity, a lot of guilt, a lot of those kind of feelings. And it's always your choice. Are you going to be heavy? Or are you going to be light?
mm, 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 mm.
That the self is not solid. It's not fixed. Your choice. Just lighten up.
I have a deeper understanding on this anatta. I it's very quickly. It's like I was able to remember when I was in some middle of dissatisfaction or whatever. I really see that, and sometimes I was like, is it because I understand it deeper because I contemplate, or is it the practice? I really don't know. And maybe even asking this question is also stupid because
Yeah, you can say, hey, I don't need to know the answer to that. I'm good. I'm okay.
Yeah, okay.
You don't have to figure everything out. Trying to figure something out makes you heavy, makes it important. And when you say, hey, it doesn't matter, I'm good without having an answer to that question. In fact, I'm lighter without the answer. That answer is heavy. And look how much work it took to get that answer, and we don't even need it. We can be good without it.
Can be good without it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. But yeah, I think that kind of solved my question. But the Michael one was a spontaneous one. I just realized the real question that I was trying to get to was, to put it simply, is lately the practice here. I kind of got scared. It kind of goes back to fear, I guess. I mean, I just realized how deep down I have this conceit, I guess. Because I watched one of the old videos where you were talking to this one person called Joel. I'm not sure if you remember that Joel. Joel, I don't know how to pronounce his name. He was talking about how in meditation, the thought of like sex and this sort of thing arises. I'll try to keep it short. Basically, I was scared that how this instinct of like, seeking mate was so ingrained in me. I don't know. Like even I have even though I already have a girlfriend, like sorry, I don't even know how to phrase this question. It's just
Okay. Ingrained is another way of saying habit, but habits don't own you.
Yeah.
Okay. Even though we may be habit bound, we could still change those habits. That's the whole point about personality view. That in fact, it may help to understand that the Pali word anatta and atta is not translated correctly as the word self. It's more actually accurately translated as soul.
Okay.
Okay, now we think of the soul in the sense of the core,
Yeah.
that which doesn't change, something that's so strong and so solid that the only thing that can affect it is a God. And the Buddha says that that doesn't exist and that you can change. Personality view then is changing the personality from a fixed soul that can't change into something that's fluid, dynamic. Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. That we're always in a constant state of flux. So, in that regard, the word atta and anatta go very closely with the word that the Buddha uses, anicca.
Yeah.
Okay? That the soul can't change much. But the Buddha teaches anicca. That means that any and everything can change. If you can understand that, then you don't have to get too wrapped up in all this Buddhist literature in English that keeps talking about a no self.
Yeah.
Because the Buddha wasn't talking about a no self, he was talking about no fixed self. Nothing solid. Everything is fluid. Everything is moving around. So, and you could think of then is that if you have a soul, that would be like in wood. The wood has a grain to it, right? However, we don't have a grain. We don't have a steel spike going up our spine that fixes us. Everything is fluid.
Yeah. Even the bone is flexible.
Yeah, even the bones are flexible.
Yeah, kind of funny.
That's what we're practicing. We're practicing to be flexible. We're practicing change. We're practicing stretching and skedaddling and moving out of the way
Mm-hmm.
and making a change.
Mm-hmm.
That anatta means that you can't change. You need a God. You need a Jesus. You need a plastic Jesus riding on the dashboard of your truck, or you're going to wreck that truck. Oh, no, you don't need a Jesus. What you need is to watch where you're going.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like even noticing what my hand is doing.
Mm-hmm. Watch what you're doing. Watch what your hands are doing. Watch where the truck is going, and then you can have a chance of changing. So when that tree jumps out of the side of the road right into the middle of the road, you have a choice. You can go around that tree, or you can stop.
Mm.
But many people will say that tree jumped into the road and bit my car, which is only saying they were not watching what they were doing. And they want Jesus to fix them. They want some insurance company to fix them.
Yeah.
And the right way to do it is to watch what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was watching what I'm doing. That's why I got scared. Like I realized there's this part of me that I didn't do it, but what likes to argue with people, likes to prove that I'm right. I didn't really give in. I didn't really feel it, but I noticed it's there, And
Why don't
I
you
was,
let them have the last word? Why don't you let them win? Let them win the argument.
yeah.
The
Just not.
strong one can let somebody else win the argument. It's only a weak person who has to retort and keep arguing.
Yeah. No, that's true. But yeah, the point I was trying to make was I was like, why do I have this very strong combative tendency? It doesn't make sense.
You
Yeah,
trained at it from diapers.
yeah.
You were already good at it, and you've just done nothing but train and train and train since then. So you're quite good at it, but it's not ingrained. It's just a habit.
Yeah,
It's
it's an
not your
old
core. It's just a skill that you developed, and now you can redevelop that skill so that you don't have to argue with people. The skill would be is to recognizing that you're in an argument so you can come out of it happily.
Yeah, I remember you said, something about if you don't see, it becomes a habit, something like that, and habit creates a destiny, something like that.
Yes, exactly. Our thoughts
Yeah.
create our mental speech, and our speech creates our actions, and our actions create our habits, and our habits create the destiny. So if you can begin to change your thoughts, your attitude, then you can change the way that you think discursively, and then you can change the way that you act, and that will change your habits, and that will change your destiny. Destinies are not fixed.
Yeah.
Only
I
people
think.
who believe in a soul believe in a real destiny, and the actual destiny is not fixed.
Yeah,
Let us say that you're on the road to Calcutta, and if you keep going down that road to Calcutta,
you.
you'll get to
Yeah.
Calcutta. However, Calcutta is not a destiny. It's just something that you keep doing and keep going until you reach there. But you can make a turn to the left and make a turn to the right, or take a turn around, or get out of your car, or whatever. Don't put gas in it, etc. And then Calcutta is no longer your destiny.
Yeah.
You're only destined because you keep going and keep going and keep going and keep doing with the same habit over and over again.
Yeah.
And so let's make a change. If you start making a change over and over again in a small way, it will change those habits, and that habit will change the destiny.
Yeah. I think the challenge was always that what the screaming, whiny child inside, like when I change it, it's like no. And then
Well,
well,
that's what an
sometimes
argument is, isn't it? It's two little kids screaming and
yeah,
crying at each other
yeah,
instead of loving each other, because neither one of them are willing to give in to the other one screaming and crying. No, I'm the better screamer and crier than you are.
yeah. I find that it's better to just distract myself and not notice, or I'm not sure yet, to be honest, but every time I'm trying to, actually, I don't know, because it's okay, okay, man, well, Michael, he said this one word, and I keep thinking, he said, interrogating the self. And then I was like, isn't that too combative? But it is, and I don't know, it's just,
Right,
um,
but you have to think of it in the sense of the languages. The interrogation is about what's happening right now, not the past.
right
Don't
now.
interrogate the self based upon what you used to be, because when you interrogate the past the way you used to be, there you are in the past. That's who you are. But if you interrogate yourself in the sense of, wow, I'm glad I don't do that anymore, now you're back in the present. So don't interrogate from the perspective of the past, interrogate from the present moment.
Mm.
Don't go there, just look at it with
You
the
also,
idea, wow, I'm glad I don't do that anymore. Wow, I've changed.
some of my favorite phrasing that I learned from you, that you always sometimes say, been there, done that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the reason I bring that up was, well, I have this very weird. Luckily, I can confidently say right now is oh, I'm glad I don't have to deal with that anymore right now.
Yeah, that's the best way to look at it. You
Yeah,
see,
but
people can say, been there, done that, and still be in the past, still doing it. Or
yeah,
they can say, been there, done that in the present, like in the sense of, wow, that's in the past, and I don't have to worry about it now. So, been there, done that is always a present moment.
I'm laughing right now because I have a feeling what I'm about to say, and then you're gonna say it's in the past, and then like, well,
All right, so
but,
catch yourself. I don't have to do it for you. You can do that. You can catch that.
well, I have to ask. I feel like I'm not the first student, and probably not the last to ask this, but it's just that what if it, uh, it comes back? Well, maybe I'm just not trying to find anything. I'm just trying to share because I have this very weird phases sometimes where my mind's, even though I would say I feel very fulfilled in this relationship with my girlfriend, but sometimes my mind goes to thinking about all the women I get to get laid in the past, and then it fantasizing stupid stuff. And then I keep telling myself, been there, done that, done that, and then it just doesn't work. Yeah, I keep banging my head against the wall. It just doesn't work, but I don't
Well,
know
it'll
what
work
happened.
next time. Keep doing it. Keep saying, I'm not there now. That's in the past. Done, been there, done that. Now I'm not doing that.
Yeah, it's just a
Keep
fuck.
coming
Sorry.
back to the present moment. See, you do it. You say, I've been there, done that, and now you're doing it. Now you're there.
Yeah. Yeah, it just it's a very old habit. I
Yeah,
kind of I get
but it's
judgy.
just a habit, and you can change that habit. Practice changing that habit. It's not your core, it's not ingrained. It's just a habit. It's not your grain. It's not who you are. It's just an old habit. You're very good at it. You're very well practiced at it, but you can change it.
Is it fair to say, like, when my practice get better, I start to see how dirty a lot of things is underneath me? I know it sounds a bit judgmental when I say it, but
Well, then
I just
stop. When you see
so,
that that's unproductive, you say, never mind. I'm okay right now.
yeah,
Be sure when you're
completely.
with me to start having wholesome thoughts. Everything's okay.
Yeah,
Then we can have a mutual laugh. We don't have to have a pity party and all of your questions and everything. We can just be happy together.
yeah. So
Notice how
it
many
also,
questions you keep asking to where you already know that all of those questions are not going to make you feel better, but you can change all of those questions into actually everything is okay.
yeah, it's the fear of the fear that it comes back. It's like, what if it comes back? And then it's like, yeah, whatever.
Well, yeah. Well, what if when it comes back, you go, I see you.
Yeah.
I'm going to be
That's not,
ready for you. Wow, if you come back, I'm going to get you before you're 10 feet from me.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I
Everything is already okay. Keep remembering that. Keep remembering that everything is already okay. Everything is fine. You don't have to figure out the dukkha. You can just drop it.
mm, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I guess it's just that I have like this desire to like want to remove every clinging I have. I know that's the
No, you're
wrong
not
approach.
ever going to get rid of it, but what you can do is become skillful at catching it and throwing it out again.
Mm.
Don't hope for a day when you don't have any. Hope for a day when you're really skilled at dealing with it.
Hope that I can be more skilled at dealing with. Yeah.
Yeah, I can do that. So you practice right now. I can do that.
Mm. Mm. You often say unremitting first jhana, like keep coming back
Well,
to
there you go,
this.
asking a bunch of questions again. Why can't you just
Okay.
say right now everything's okay?
All right. Okay.
Everything right now is okay. Let's practice that rather than practice asking questions hoping for answers. Just practice. I don't need to know any answers. I'm already okay. I got all the answers I need. Not much, just enough. A little dab will do ya.
Yeah. I'm just picturing myself, in a swimming pool, like just like I don't know, like just
Yeah,
and then
Pollyanna, everything's all right.
and then just stop and then just let myself float, right? I just yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
okay.
All
I can
right.
do that. Okay, I can
Okay,
do
so
that.
let's finish this call and you remember that you're already okay.
All right. Okay, I'll try. I will do that. Bye
All
bye.
right.
Thank you.
See you later.
See you later.